I'm turning 30 years old soon, and this video is to document what are the 3 biggest things that I've learned over the course of these 30 years. I've built a business that I sold in my home country. I got on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and I started this channel to document the journey of building my new business, a functional chewing gum brand. By the way, we are in Medellin, and I wanted to take this moment today to not talk about the business stuff, but just try to summarize what I've learned over the course of these 30 years. And this message is partly for you to understand the key values that I stand for, but it's also for me that maybe in 3, 5, 10 years I will look back on this video and it will make me smile. So let's get started on the top 3 things that I took away from 30 years of existence on this planet. Alright, in the meantime they just got our smoothies, so just have to test it. It's pretty good. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is how important it is to get started as soon as possible. The thing about life is that the years don't just add up, they multiply. And this is especially true in business, where you just face so many challenges and so many things are happening over the course of 1 year, so many problems to solve, that the sooner you get started, those experiences really add up. The first business that I started, I was 24 years old. And I wish I had started earlier, but in my home country, in Hungary, entrepreneurship is not really part of the culture, so I wasn't really having any guidance. I started it because when I started working at a corporate, I realized that it's not for me. Over the course of 4 years, I was building that first business that I eventually was able to sell. But really the most important thing is that the sooner you get started, the more you will realize what's important to you, what are the things that you like to chase in terms of long-term passions. And the first project doesn't necessarily have to be the one thing that you will do for the next 20 years. It's really more about just figuring out what's important to you, what are the sort of values that you stand for, what are the things that you like to do. The thing about being in Medellin is that everything is so fucking noisy that it's almost impossible to record a video. Well, anyway, so back to the topic. So the thing is, if you start at a young age, people crave good stories, and they crave the stories of the young entrepreneur who, despite lacking any sort of experience, just goes out into the world and tries to slay the dragon. So you will see that people will eventually start supporting you, even though when you first start telling about your ideas, you sound a little bit crazy and people will tell you down. But eventually, when you do get started, more and more people will gather together to try to support you. This was true in my case as well, where when I first started, all my friends were like, this project would never succeed. But eventually, as things started to progress and I was on the journey a little longer, it was a clothing brand that I was first building. The people that I first was trying to do collaborations with, they rejected me at first, but over the course of a few years, when they saw that the project was having some sort of success, they eventually reached out to me that they want to do a collaboration with me. I really believe that the success formula is time times disciplined work. And if you get the time component right first, then just you putting in work over a course of period, you can't not succeed. That's how simple things are. So that's about the time component. Again, time times disciplined work equals success. And you have to be relentless about both your time and about the work that you put in. And that's gonna be our second point. Dude, recording in a Latin American city is one of the toughest things. Like, honestly, they call it developed countries because everything is still under construction. So we just came to the center and it's literally like people carrying stuff, just new constructions happening, and frankly, it's a pain. But anyway, so the first thing, obviously, is the time element of things. Like, if you can put yourself in a position where you can get started sooner and you can sort of stack the deck in your favor in terms of the time, you already have an advantage over others because things multiplied in a sort of accelerated way, right? And the second thing that I want to talk about is the importance of focus. Like, when you're starting out at the beginning of your career, but it could be a new project as well, the thing is that you have to chase people, you have to chase opportunities, you have to reach out to a bunch of people. The way it happened to me was like, you know, I was trying to get collaborations with people that could help me get more credibility, that could help me bring in new revenue. Down the line, in about 2 years, people started reaching out to me and they started coming to me with opportunities, and I had to learn how to say no. That's one of the elements of being focused, is like there's so many things happening in this world, so many opportunities out there, and as you're starting to get success, people will try to flock around you and they try to bring you opportunities or options to work with them, but you have to learn how to say no, and it's super difficult. Like, apart from this channel, I have another channel in Spanish that I do, and a lot of Argentinians and other Latin Americans are reaching out to me with asking for help or some other respect, and it's hard to say them no because they legitimately have a much harder time than I do. But I still have to either ignore the messages because I simply can't put in the time and the energy to deal with these things, or I just have to say no because it doesn't serve my goals or my values. That's about focus. It's making sure that you know what you want in the long term, you know what are the values that you stand for, and you filter out everything that doesn't support you. And by the way, one more important thing about focus. Focus is not 24/7 logged in and just work and just hustling and grinding. Focus comes in phases. Like, there's a phase to just work in silence, developing yourself or making sure that you're a better version of yourself. But there's also a phase that you should dedicate towards regeneration, and that could be, some parties, that could be being with friends, something that brings you joy and happiness. I really believe that life comes in phases, and there's always a phase to just put down your head and focus and do the work. And there's another phase where you're letting loose, you're partying a little bit, you're more living in the moment. The first business that I was building, I was pushing it for 4.5 years. I was barely doing any traveling, just work, work, work. And then after selling my first business last year, when I started traveling the world a little bit, that was more about adventures, that was more about living in the moment and letting loose. And I needed that phase so that right now I can go into a new phase with the new business and just put my head down and focus on work. So I think focus is not just locking in, focus is also realizing that you have certain times of your life when you're just in the work, and certain times of your life when you're focusing on letting yourself loose and enjoy the moment. So that was focus, and I'm really fed up with recording on the streets. So we're gonna go to my balcony and I will tell you the number 3. Yo, we are back at the crib and I got myself a bubble tea. Apart from yerba mate, bubble teas are my other addiction. But anyways, back to the topic. And the third and final thing that I want to talk about is figuring out and being very strict about the values that you stand for. Because, for example, you need to know what you stand for when you're looking for friends, when you're looking for a partner, because otherwise you will just end up being shaped by other people. If you have a strong value system, if you have a strong internal value system and you filter out the people based on that, then you will be able to protect your success, your development, and your progression towards, because people, your environment, have an incredible amount of influence over the sort of people that you're becoming. And if you tolerate other people that are lazy, other people that are negative, people that are maybe morally doing something that you can't stand for, if you're tolerating the presence of these people in your life, it will eventually drag you down. So you need to figure out what are the values that you stand for as a human being. And that could be, maybe you're about entrepreneurship, you're about achieving something big in this life, but it could be, just family, it could be standing for something that's important for you. It could be anything. But the point is that you need to figure these things out and be strict about them, because the people that are strict, that are having a very, very strong internal compass, are the people that are going to make it to the top, because they just gather so much respect for being unshakable. It's about becoming unshakable. And by the way, all these 3 things, getting started as soon as possible, figuring out the focus element, knowing what you want to dedicate yourself to, and knowing what you stand for, these are not something that you just figure out one day and then from the next day you're like already there. This is a process, and over the course you'll be forever tested. And when you're figuring out your values, you don't just want to think about what you are right now, what you stand for right now. It's more about thinking about the sort of person that you want to become, because what you are right now, it's fleeting. It will change over the course of a period. But if you can know what you're aiming for, that's the ideal, and aiming towards the ideal and going towards that, that's what actually going to fulfill you. So just to wrap it up, the first aspect, getting started as soon as possible, that's about having initiative and making sure that you can build yourself momentum sooner, because whatever you want to do in this life, it's all about movement. It's not about figuring out and philosophizing and trying to understand things. It's always about action, and action leads to momentum, and momentum takes you to wherever you want to go. So it's about getting in motion, it's about getting your hands dirty. That's initiative. The second thing, focus, is about making sure that you align yourself with the right thing and you filter out everything that's noise, so you can stay on course and you can actually get there. And the third thing is knowing what you stand for and knowing what kind of person you want to become. These are the three things that I figured out over the course of these 30 years, and some minor successes that I had and failures as well. These are the three guiding principles that I want to live by. It's about having the initiative to act, having the focus to make sure that I'm working on my goals, and it's about knowing what I stand for and making sure that the people that I let into my life are going to support me in what my goals are. 30 years of existence in this life, that's what I've learned, and that's what I want you to take with yourself as well. So this video has been a little special, not talking about the updates in my business, but next week I'll be back with something like that. So take care until then.